In this video, we're going to continue on with host family functionality and talk about these floor drains, how to use them. So I'm going to scroll down in my browser to floor drains, and we can pick a given floor drain. Let's do this round strainer with a nickel bronze strainer. So what do we have with this host family functionality? The user manual describes the message center and instructions, and that's an important concept. So I would review that, which was just in the previous section in the user manual. But essentially, all of these families, especially with host family functionality, we're giving the users the inputs that they need, that they have available. So this given floor drain, you can choose in any of these sizes. So the user would place the floor drain, and they edit the size, and the family will change to what they choose. So 3-inch. So the message center parameter down here, we're using in a lot of families, and I would encourage users to get familiar with it because it's going to help you through some issues, troubleshooting inputs that you may have in a family, and it's going to be further expanded upon in further releases. So right now this is telling us the selection is valid. Now, however, if we entered a size not available, so let's enter a 5-inch, we have two things going on. For one, we have the message center telling the users that the selection is not valid, change drain pipe diameter. And we also have a visual indication to the user that the family is not working. So this is courtesy of Paul Dischinger in my office. He spent some time putting this together, but essentially, we wanted to make sure users were aware that they have some invalid inputs, and this is no bueno, and you need to fix this. So in this case, you could go back and you could edit your input to be something that is available. There you go. So even as well, if you accidentally entered a fraction in, you'd get the same result. So we'll go back to 2-inch. All right, now let me throw a tag on this floor drain. So a couple things I mentioned in the previous video is these are face-based nested families from Watts, but they're in a free non-face-based host family. So this allows us to move this around wherever we need to. We can offset it up and down. If this was a parking garage where we had some area drains and the parking garage is sloping all over the place, you can just adjust the offset for these drains to whatever you want, positive or negative. The other thing we have is we have a primer connection functionality, which is detailed on the symbols and titles sheet, M000. But if a user checks this, they get a visual indication of the tag, and they also have the actual tap for the trap primer connection on the floor drain visible, due to the articulated Cartesian arms. So I will note that we haven't included another connector on this just yet because we're looking at different methods without including a lot of disconnects for floor drains that don't have trap primers. So one option is to create a different family, but our whole methodology is to combine and reduce the family browser list. So hopefully we can come up with a different solution. But if you want to host a connector for cold water to that trap primer, it's there and it's set up for you. I guess I did want to note, when you check that primer connection, there's a handful of things that update that show up in the schedule as well. Drain primer size goes from dashes to a given size. And then also we have a description that shows up, which is used in the schedule, and the connector really should be using this description parameter as well. So this would say not used if this was unchecked. So that should be tied to the connector. So let's look at a floor sink, for example. I'm going to change this to a floor sink. All right, floor sinks. Let's just do a 12-inch square by 8 inches deep. All right, so specific to floor sinks, we have some functionality to show a full grate or a half grate. So a user can simply check a box and that'll update the model lines in the given family. And then the same functionality applies as well. So you have your drain sizing instructions. So you can change the size to something available and your family will flex for you. So there's the 4-inch outlet. All right, and lastly now, since these are instance-based parameters, driving size, fixture units need to change based upon this size, based upon the IPC or UPC. So we understand we had to write an equation based upon one of them, and basically we provided users an option to override the value. So if we were at a 2-inch floor sink, let's show our fixture units. So if you're following another, so you'll see as we change sizes, the fixture units are changing, and that's a formula-driven value. So if you need to override it, down in mechanical, we have a WFU out override. So you can make this whatever you want. You can put this to 8 fixture units, and your family and your connector and your entire flow propagation will update. So that is the floor drains.